All right. So, hello, good night, or good evening. Yeah, good night.
Hello,
makes
everyone.
perfect sense. And we're off. Anyway.
To a great start.
Yeah. It's been a long day for me, at least. Hopefully everybody else's has been less long. I apologize, buttons. So, first order of business. TPK, Total Party Crit. I am Dengle, the keeper of arcane lore for this evening, because we are playing Call of Cthulhu. Joining me is... Who wants to go first?
I'm Nenavar. I play Barnabas.
I muted myself. I'm Feyla. I play Saoirse.
I'm Cocia, and I play Etta May White.
I'm Buttons, and I play Nurse Eileen.
All right. So, before we jump into stories and such, couple of announcements. If you are with us and you are like, hey, I kind of like these people because they're funny or whatever, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, the normal stuff. On there, we're going to have Linktree to get to everywhere else. If you find us on one, find us on all of them. Most of them are TPKrit, TPKrit or TPK game or something of that nature. So, if you find us there and you're like, I want to find them on everything, Linktree, it's there, I promise. In that Linktree, you'll find a couple other things. You will find a way to get discounted dice. Dice Legion has been very gracious and has given us the ability to give you, yes, as everybody shows their stuff from them, give you discounts on dice and dice things. Dice trays, stickers, keychains, all sorts of stuff. It gives you a percentage off on checkout, gives us a little bit of the total, kind of helps us, helps you, helps everybody. Since we haven't streamed a whole lot, figure go over the whole streaming schedule for us. Tuesdays, Call of Cthulhu, 9:30 Eastern. Thursdays, 9:30 Eastern, we're going to kind of be doing just a chat session most Thursdays. There's probably going to be a couple that we don't hit, but it's probably because we're doing other things or people are just busy. And then Saturdays at 9:30, it is our Vampire the Masquerade, which you should join us for the next 4 of those, at least.
Oh boy!
Yes, I've got plans.
Doozy.
I've got plans. Faye knows a little bit of them. Buttons knows a little bit of them. Cocia and none, not so much, but it's okay. You will.
We like it that way.
I already forgot what I do now.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
All of those streams that he just talked about will be uploaded on our YouTube and podcasts the following week, day prior to the stream.
Yes. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. For their respective games. To go along with that, if you want to know, like, the minute that we start doing streaming, we have a Discord server. You should join it. We don't have a whole lot of people on there right now. You should really join it. Get ground level, because, all that fun stuff. Once we get a little bit bigger with that, we'll, really get into the whole what it is. But for now, it's our news, be able to talk to us directly, all that fun stuff. And then finally, to go with Discord server, if you're like, hey, I really like these people and I want to support them, we have a Patreon. Patreon gives you all sorts of stuff. Easiest that I can cover are the Discord roles. Get you extra stuff. You get our after game talks, and then there's other things too, which kind of slipped my mind. It's cover them later. It's fine. I know we're still tweaking a couple things for the higher tiers, so we'll get there. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything, right?
Yes, sir.
I think so.
Okay, so let us jump into this then. So, last time, all of you were on a boat.
You're no longer on said boat, thankfully.
Thank
Yes, thank you.
gosh.
Said boat no longer exists.
Oh no, it exists. It's just in very small pieces. Yes. Your Captain Nichols, your army lieutenant or army captain rather, put dynamite in. I believe Eileen lit the fuse as everybody was evacuating.
She was the only one that could.
Yeah. Well, Barnabas could, but it's Barnabas. Because let's see here. You went on the boat because people were apparently being dismembered and eaten, which is a wonderful thought. You found a couple people in the kitchen. They just stayed hidden in the kitchen, which was fine. Found somebody in the machine shop that was trying to hide behind a curtain, but he was very large, so it didn't really work. Saoirse saw what the guy was doing behind the curtain and messed with them a little bit.
Regretted it instantly.
Yes. Then you went down below decks to the crew quarters. You found a crate with some robes in it that belonged to people of a very not good group, let's put it that way. Yeah. They like to dress up as ghosts on not Halloween. And they're dumb. And you were like, alright, cool, so we can go straight from here down to the engine room. Because the engine room's right there. So you went down there. You did all the things. I believe Saoirse found a journal, right?
Yes, she found a journal that is extremely similar to several of the books they have already found, with the addition of a singular new entry.
Yes. But that particular entry is not one that Saoirse particularly wants.
Heck no.
Yeah, it makes zombies. The entire time, Etta kept getting hurt. Semi-comically, actually. She got smacked in the top of the head. She stepped on a nail. She burnt herself. So kind of Home Alone style. It's great stuff. Barnabas found an artifact. And Eileen was concerned for everybody else, so didn't really find a whole lot.
Barnabas also promptly destroyed the artifact.
Yes, when a very large hulking man that was covered in bones and viscera came down and was like, "You're not getting off this boat," basically. Fight ensued. Saoirse broke an arm. Captain broke a leg. Which is why Captain wasn't the one that lit the fuse.
Yay, hooray
So,
for
yeah.
almost character death.
Yes. But yeah, Barnabas decided to play baseball with this guy's head. And actually won, so it's okay. Didn't remove it, but did enough damage to make him stop. And you left, and everybody got treatment. I believe that's where we left off, right?
Yeah.
Rachel?
Trish was holed up with her broken arm for a while and has been writing a journal.
Yes.
We also got an invitation back to a certain flower shop to have a discussion.
Yes.
And we had notes left on the doors.
Yes, you did.
Not good
So-
notes.
No, basically saying stop looking into what you're looking into.
Yeah, some organization doesn't like us poking around. How odd.
Yeah. You should see the note that Captain got.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Anyway, moving on. We will hop right into it then. A month passes. Saoirse, your arm wasn't nearly as broken as you thought it was initially. However, it still hurt really bad. Your arm has since been removed from cast and sling. You are back to full health. Also, everybody is back to full luck if they used it. Except for, I think Saoirse technically used 25, so you've
I
got a
did.
little bit left to go. And
Oh.
you've got a little bit left to go, but it's not a whole lot.
Okay. What would I be at then?
I think you'd still need like 5.
I'm at 45?
Yes.
I'm so
If you-
confused.
Yeah, just back to full. That'll be nice.
Okay.
Yeah. Luck regaining is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the whole
That's why
thing,
I'm
and I don't want to
confused.
do it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the
I'll
whole
take
thing.
it.
I don't want to do it, so I'm just giving it back. You all get a summons from Captain that says, "Meet me at the base."
Oh boy, here we go again.
It specifically says no time limit. Come at your leisure.
To the base.
So, how long would everybody want to take?
I would get ready right away.
Yeah, Saoirse would go with Etta.
Assuming whether or not Barnabas is at work or not, he may take some time.
If Eileen was working, she'd stop by after her shift is over. Otherwise, she'd just go there straight away.
Okay. He would be smart enough to try to time it to where Barnabas wouldn't be on work or wouldn't be at work for very much longer, as well as Eileen. So you all show up and you're directed into the building that you initially met, and kind of brings you into this kind of boardroom, sits you down, and it's like, so good news and bad news. And he's still hobbling around a little bit. It's like, good news, we don't have any pressing matters. There hasn't been any reports of anything to do with what we've been looking into. So that's the good news. Bad news is, I think it's about time that I send you four to at least have a talk with our flower man.
Not going to be joining us this time.
I'm not moving around so great, so I'm not really that useful right now. Doctor says I've got at least 2 weeks before I can start running. So, you know.
Do you want me to take a look at that and get a second opinion on that?
No, it's mainly just the muscles are real stiff and sore when I use it too much. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Alright, well, if any of the doctors give you a side eye or anything, let me know and I'll kick their butts.
No, it'll be fine. Trust me. you come in and you're wounded, they typically take care of you. If you come in coughing and sneezing, they're going to be like, no, you're fine. Here's some morphine, go away. But in the meantime, I wanted to do a little bit something special for all of you. And he goes to the back door and he kind of opens it up, and some people come out with like rolling carts with a bunch of the cloches on top. And he was like, I got everybody dinner, and underneath there's a gift for everybody. Each of you has something special. Just figured, after what happened last time, that was not something that all of you signed up for. But you valiantly took care of it. And Barnabas, you actually surprised me. So good job.
You saved the day.
Thanks.
So these 4 individuals, or one individual, puts all of your individual dinner plates out. He sits down with his, and he's got a nice big fat juicy steak and potatoes. And he's like, by all means, we're not going to technically serve you, but, he kind of served you, so whenever you're ready. So, Saoirse, since you were first to react, you open it up and same thing that Captain's got. Big juicy steak, potatoes. However, on the top of the plate, just off the plate, obviously, is a small club that looks like if you tug on it, you could probably extend it a little bit.
Okay.
It is specifically made out of iron.
They will take that. Look at it for a minute.
So yeah, I noticed you've been walking around with just an iron rod. Figured this one would probably be easier to hide somewhere.
Probably. Thank you.
Who's next?
Etta.
Okay. Again, same dinner. All of you are gonna have the same dinner. Etta, you are given a small knife. You kind of look at it and you're like, oh, this is cool. And you kind of flip it over and you see a small hole in the end and what looks like a trigger. And he kind of looks and he's like, yeah, it's a single shot, stealth knife, quote unquote. I can show you how to load it if you don't know how to do that. Little bit of black powder, 10 grains will do you. Otherwise it might blow up. Little bit of packing and then the actual shell. And he hands you a bunch of BBs. And he's like, it's not going to do a whole lot, but it might be enough to slow him down. And if you can figure out how to lace it with stuff or run into something like what I assume Saoirse, because I've actually been doing some research on, heritage. If you run into something and it's, it might do something. I don't know.
Great. Yeah, thanks.
And it's a knife, so you could, if somebody comes up and, no, go away, and poke them.
It's always good to have a melee weapon as well.
Yes. So,
Barnabas will head after her.
alright. Barnabas, you are actually given a notebook. It's a brand new notebook. It's very nice. He's like, so I don't know if it actually works, but if you write things down in there, they'll disappear until you basically pour water on that particular page, and it'll soak it up. You'll be able to read it, and then it goes back away. I haven't tried it, so you can take like private notes.
I'll give it a try next chance I get.
I figured it's something that you might find useful. Maybe, I don't know. And then Eileen. And you open yours up, and you've got the biggest flashlight. And it's like, it is... you can run it over with a small tank, and it won't break. So you can just smack the shit out of people. It's a bit heavy, but, I mean, it is what it is. Seeing as you have a thing for carrying the flashlight.
Thank you.
And he's like, by all means, eat. Just figured, a little bit of something to kind of show my appreciation for everybody. You all eat, and it's not the best dinner you've ever had, but it's the best free dinner that you've had this week. And you go about your merry way. It is a Friday night, though. Most of you don't work weekends. Eileen, it is your weekend off. What would you like to do?
Well, since we have the night off, do you guys want to maybe go to a jazz club or something for a little bit? Get away from all the crazy?
I shouldn't be up too late. I need to make sure the kids are in bed, but I can stay for a little bit.
Sounds like a fun time.
Alright, I'll head with.
Okay. Is there any particular part of the city that you would like to go to? I assume that nobody actually knows the, parts of... Yeah. Okay.
Not at all.
I've heard of them, I don't remember them.
Sorry, Dengle, that's on you.
I used to know a few, but I don't remember them anymore. I'm sorry.
Like French Quarter or something like that, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the typical one that people go to. That's where Bourbon Street is. And even at this point, Bourbon Street was still kind of where you went to party. Not nearly what it is today, but it is what it is. There's a couple of jazz clubs down there. You walk into probably the first one that you find, because nobody really wants to walk that far, let's be honest here. You sit down, and you brought non-alcoholic beverages. Because yeah. You're sitting there, you listen to music, having a good old grand time. I don't know what all you talk about. Is there anything specific that you would talk about?
Catching up, getting to know each other.
Pretty much, yeah. Just a little friendship building exercise.
Pretty much. Trust building. We need it.
That's fair. So yeah, you kind of exchange stories of where you're from, what, all that fun stuff. I'm sure Saoirse and Etta probably have done that quite a few times.
Oh yeah.
Especially since neither one of us are sleeping much these days.
No.
Yeah. Barnabas and Eileen, though, you get a better insight on Etta and Saoirse. And they get a better insight on you. And the night's pretty quiet. Eileen, you go to turn in because, kids. You start heading home. Give me a spot hidden, please, Eileen.
Oh, I'm fantastic at those. Okay, spot hidden.
Maybe we really should have insisted that one of us walk home with Eileen.
I'm sure it's fine.
I do not spot the hidden.
Okay. So you make it all the way home, and you don't notice anything. You get home, the kids are already in bed. The person that you have watching your kids while you're not there, so yeah, no, they even ate the vegetables today. It was great. And you head off to sleep. Then Saoirse and Etta, I feel like you two would probably stay a little bit longer than Barnabas. So Barnabas, you're the next to leave, and you probably leave 30 minutes later. Give me that same roll, please.
I also do not spot the hidden.
Okay. Again, you make home, feed your fish, head off to bed. Then Saoirse and Etta, if I can please get both of you to do the same check.
I do spot the hidden.
So do I.
Yes.
Okay. You notice about halfway home that when you get on trolleys, somebody else gets on trolleys. When you get off trolleys, the same person gets off, going down the same streets, going down the same everything. They're not tightly tailing you, but they're definitely following you.
We have a fan.
Apparently. Saoirse will walk a little closer to Etta to make sure that if something happens, they're like right next to each other.
So you continue on home without confronting said person?
Is there a way we can like double back to see if we can get a good look at who they are?
You can kind of turn around, start quote unquote looking for things. Like say you dropped some money or whatever. And
Yeah, Saoirse will just start pointing things out and acting like a big tourist or something like that. They've never seen it before. And they are more female presenting today, wearing a little bit more feminine clothing.
Okay. When you turn around, they turn around. And they try to keep that same distance from you.
Do you think if we go around a building, we can hide behind the building and they'll walk into us?
Possibly. I don't want to head back to the house until we know what's going on.
Okay, well, let's try it at the very least.
Alright. So you walk and kind of turn, and do you hide directly on the corner of the building, or do you go down a little bit and try to hide in an alleyway?
Hide a bit?
Yeah. Or we could do one on the corner and then one in an alley. If it's not too far away.
Okay. Go ahead and give me your rolls, please.
For stealth or what?
Yes.
What am I rolling?
Stealth.
Okay, let's see here. That is a fail for Etta.
Pass.
Okay. So, Etta, you're like, I'll be fine right here, and you stand in the corner of the building. Saoirse's like, I've done this before, watch this. And you kind of duck behind in an alley. The person kind of, Etta, you kind of poke your head around, and you see him just kind of stop and stare at you. So I assume that you go walking down the street. They are more than half a block away from you.
Okay, yeah, I'll bend down and act like I'm picking something up, and then start walking again.
Okay. You start walking. And they come around the corner, and I assume, Etta, you kind of like look over your shoulder and kind of see them like confused as to where Saoirse is. But they keep following you. And Saoirse, they walk within 5 feet of you and don't see you at all.
Saoirse will let them pass and then get behind them.
You are muted.
Saoirse will let them pass and then get behind them.
Okay.
Etta is just full fate right now, I guess.
Okay. They do not seem to notice you.
Are they acting odd in any way, or just walking? Are they walking weirdly? Are they wearing anything out of the normal?
Give me a psychology.
Passed.
Okay. They seem to be extremely focused on one particular goal. So much so that it comes off as definitely odd that they're not really paying attention to anything besides their one thing.
Oh, should I make the stupid decision or the smart decision?
Stupid.
Okay, Saoirse's gonna quicken their stride a little bit and come up to the side of them. Almost.
Okay.
Evening.
And they just kind of stop and look at you, and they don't say anything. You can see a very
look at them.
blank. Yeah, you can see a very blank, just stare. There's nothing behind, like, their eyes.
Well, that's a little concerning. Are you there?
They just stand there and stare at you.
Wave hand in front of their face.
They don't even blink.
Well, that's not good.
Do we think he's under a spell?
Oh, did Etta come up?
I'm guessing, hearing you talk, she would have at least stopped and turned around. Hopefully.
Can Saoirse put their hand on the shoulder and, like, give him a little shake?
Yep.
Is it a man or a woman?
It is a man.
Okay.
You give him a shake, and they kind of blink a couple times, and like, where am I?
I don't know. Where are you following us?
I wasn't following you.
You were. For a few blocks now.
Oh, what? And they kind of look around like, I was at the municipal building.
We were at the club.
That's...
What's the last thing you remember at the municipal building?
I had just paid my taxes. I was coming out, and I was about to get into a taxi.
I assume it's much earlier in the day than this. You're paying your taxes.
Yeah, and they kind of look around like, yeah, it was before it was dark.
What's your name?
John. Sorry. I apologize. I don't want to start any issues. If I was following you, I truly don't remember it, and I will leave you alone, both of you.
I am a little more concerned about you not remembering and then following us. Do you remember anyone you saw?
No, like I said, I jumped in the taxi, and I was on my way home, and like, remember getting about halfway there, and we were stopped at a traffic signal, and then here, and I was like, I still don't know what's going on.
Did you share the taxi with anyone?
Not that I remember.
All right. I mean, I'm still a little concerned as to what is going on here. You've lost a good portion of your day.
Yeah, it did, and he kind of starts patting himself down. He reaches in his pocket and pulls out a flower. And he's like, oh, that's weird. And it's that same flower from before.
Well, that's interesting. Can I see that flower?
I mean, you can have it if you want. I mean, how'd that get in there?
Quite sure I don't know. Are you going to be okay?
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be fine.
Can I have your address so we can check up on you just in case?
You get a pen and paper?
Always.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. It doesn't matter.
Appreciate it.
And he writes down his information, hands it back to you. And he's like, I'm gonna go now if that's all right. I apologize. I didn't want to, if I caused any concern or scared you, I apologize. Definitely not my intention. I don't know what happened.
I understand. Make sure you get home safe. Have a good evening.
Yeah,
Good evening, John.
And they vacate the area.
Well,
that's extremely concerning.
It is. That's the Datura flower, right?
Yes.
And it's fully intact?
Yes, it is.
Voodoo.
Seems like we might be paying a visit to the friend who runs that interesting little shop tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, I don't think we can put it off any longer.
So from here, you two going back home, or okay?
You think we should check on the others?
We can, if you want to.
Can't remember. Do we know where they live? I don't know if we do.
I don't think that was something we discussed.
I don't think it was either. Well, we'll call them tomorrow. Hopefully they're fine.
All right. So, you all wake up the next morning. A point of bookkeeping. How much study have Saoirse and Etta put into those books that you found a while back?
Probably at least a little bit every night, right? I can't hear you. Sorry.
Oh.
Okay.
Because the month of downtime with not being able to do too much else, probably a good chunk of it for Saoirse.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you roll 3 separate library uses, or forget what else I had you roll last time.
Occult.
Yes, occult. However, you can pick the best tens place out of all of them, and then just roll one singular ones place.
So roll 3 times, take the best 10.
Yes. Basically, roll your tens 3 times, and then your ones.
Once. Both of us, or just Saoirse?
Yes, both of you.
Okay. I got a 32, which is a hard success for Etta.
Okay.
I failed by 3 points.
Would you like to spend luck on this?
Yes. Yes, I would. I rolled a 38 as the lowest. My library use is 35.
Okay. So, Etta, you learn both of them. The first
Both
one
spells?
is... Yes, both of the rituals. The first one is basically a mesmerize spell. Or ritual. It costs 1 magic point and 1 sanity. Saoirse, you also learned that one. The other one is, for lack of a better term, being able to create an illusion, a very basic illusion. That one just causes or uses up a point of magic. Small things like making a coconut into a flaming skull, for example, or a flaming coconut into a flaming skull. It has to be generally the same size and same shape, but you can make people believe that it's a certain other thing.
Okay.
Like if you wanted to, you could make a $1 bill look like a $50 bill. So,
Neat.
I mean, we already said that Saoirse and Etta are not the moral compass, so, I mean, why not?
yeah, but stuff like that. And it simply costs magic points. The mesmerize costs magic and sanity.
Right.
So, wake up the next morning, and it's a little bit damp. It's a bit of rain. Nothing that you haven't dealt with before. I mean, you know, you are A, in the south, B, right on the Gulf. So it rains quite often. So what would you like, what would all of you like to do this particular day?
Wakes up bright and early and makes pancakes for her and Saoirse and a pot of coffee.
Lovely. Do you think we should call the captain and let him know what happened last night? Considering it dealt with the flower.
Oh, yeah, good point. Good point. Well, we should let him know. I gotta flip these pancakes. Phone's right over there, though.
Alright. Saoirse will make a phone
Okay,
call.
I have to figure out if the captain's even there and available.
If he's not, Saoirse would at least leave a message.
You're muted.
It's only catching half of it sometimes. As in, like, one system is catching it and the other is not. If he's not, Saoirse will at least leave a message for him saying that they are going to talk to the flower shop today because of it.
See, that's the fun thing, is there wasn't answering machines or voicemail.
I'm sure someone can take a message for him.
There's nobody there to take a message.
Oh my god. Okay,
So it rings and rings and rings and rings and rings. However, he is not there.
this is annoying.
Somebody needs a new secretary.
Do we have the number for Eileen and Barnabas?
I think we exchanged those the first day we met. Vaguely remember that?
Yeah. So you call up Eileen, and one of her kids picks up.
Hello?
Hello?
Is Eileen there?
Hey,
Who's
yeah.
calling? I thought you were making pancakes.
I am making pancakes. I forgot. Sorry.
Is Eileen there?
Yeah, she's in the washroom right now.
Okay, that's
Take a
fine.
bath.
That's alright. Can you let her know to call Etta back? please.
I can take. I mean, I can probably take more of a message than that if you want to leave it.
We ran into something interesting last night, and I think we need to go see the person we talked about for the flowers.
Okay, I'll let her know. Does this mean we get to go over to Uncle's house again?
I'm not sure what she has you do, darling.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you. And you said your name's Etta, right?
My name is Saoirse, but I'm with Etta.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll just remember Etta. I don't know how to say your name.
That's fine.
And he's like, okay, have a good day.
You too.
And you hear him hang the receiver back up.
Eileen is gonna get such a messed up message.
Maybe.
I was trying to think of how to phrase it to where the kid wouldn't, know too much. I don't know what Eileen has told them.
Probably nothing.
And call Barnabas. Ring ring.
Yeah.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
Doing alright. How are you?
That's from last night. We had a bit of an issue with someone following us. Were you followed?
Not that I know of.
Okay. The person didn't seem to know anything about what was going on. He had a completely blank face. It was very weird. He had a flower in his pocket, the Datura flower. I think we need to talk to the flower shop today, because that was weird.
Alright. Let me finish cleaning my fishbowl and then I'll meet you guys wherever you need me to.
Etta, where do you want to meet them?
Well, they could just come over here and have pancakes with us. I don't know, depending on how long it takes them.
Alright. Do you want to come over for breakfast?
Alright.
This is the address.
Alright, I'll be there as soon as I can.
No rush.
So he's coming over? I better make
At some
more
point.
food.
He said he has to clean his fishbowl.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get some bacon going to go with our pancakes, scrambled egg. Or would you rather have sunny side up eggs? You like eggs?
Whatever you want to cook.
Okay. Cookity cook.
Okay. Anyway, moving on. Barnabas, you show up, and they kind of give you a general overview of what's going on. And I assume that all of you kind of wait a little bit before heading out. Okay, so it's still drizzly, it's still damp. Again, nothing that you haven't dealt with before. It's a bit muddy where there's not actual pavement or some sort of road. But it's doable. You show up to the flower shop. And Eileen's not there yet. However, the door or the sign in the window says open. The door is open as well, and you can hear chickens inside.
Oh boy, sounds like home. Go in.
And you go in, and there is a couple people in there. The owner is in there, as well as a younger woman. She kind of gives you a side eye and kind of turns and looks at the owner and kind of nods and puts his hand out. She kind of nods back and goes back to what she was doing. He looks at you three and he's like, "Oh, back so soon."
Yes.
Good morning.
Captain sent us, and we also had Saoirse and I had a bit of a night last night.
Oh, you did.
I mean, it
Which
wasn't
one?
awful, but it was odd. Saoirse will pull out the flower and set it on the table. This was in Man's pocket last night. And he was following us, completely zoned out.
Oh, that's, could be worse, I guess. Right,
that's why I said it wasn't awful, but it was weird.
It was very weird.
Well, good news. This ain't mine. Bad news, I don't know who drew this one. Mine are pink. Pieces are white.
Do the colors do different things?
No, it's just I have the pink variety.
Okay.
Most of the people here in the city have the pink variety. White is more wild.
Difficult to grow. Ah, I see.
Yes. And difficult to grow. But it's okay. You said you found it on somebody that was not here?
Yeah, like,
Right.
my hands in front of Sace didn't even make him blink. I had to shake him.
Well, that's not good. And he kind of huffs a little bit, and he's... So, what you need me for?
I don't remember why the captain would have sent us back to him.
To basically talk to him about the stuff that he was going to talk to you guys about.
Right. Well, you sent us an invitation to come talk to you. Yeah?
Yeah, I did.
Is this a bad time?
No. It's just I want to make sure that's what you all wanted to talk to me about.
Yes, I mean, other than the weird situation last night. I didn't think you had anything to do with it, but you might have had some insight.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. And right about that time, a taxi pulls up out front. Eileen steps out, just a bit flustered because children giving late messages. And she comes barreling inside, and so, oh, that's the one. She's here too.
Eileen?
Better late than never. Anyway, some of the insight that I figured I'd share with you. When we had talked originally, it was just bringing dead back to life. With the whole boat thing, I have a feeling that I know where they're getting the information from.
That would be very helpful.
Yeah. I'd say I'm willing to go explore with you, but I'm not. But I can tell you exactly where to go.
That's fine. We're not very willing to do it either, but we have to.
I mean, you don't have to do anything.
We very
Getting
much
paid to
should.
do it?
I should say that. Anyway, what's her able to tell us?
So, this might sound like an old wives' tale, but for what it's worth, I've laid my eyes on it. And my mama, she took me out there before she died. And I can tell you what people say is out there is actually out there. I would bring whatever you deem as a symbol of your faith with you. Doesn't matter what the faith is as long as you symbol of your faith.
Okay.
There's a roving spirit that if you make it angry, you're gonna need it.
Right.
But you only make it angry if you take something out. So that's the positive part.
Noted. Don't take anything.
Yeah, pretty much. So you go west of the city for about 15 miles until you reach County Route 313. And you turn right on that and you go until it becomes fully dirt. Not gravel, not the tar and stone, whatever it is. Then you go another half mile. And then you'll see an old, decrepit slaver's mansion. Way off in the distance through a bunch of magnolia trees. That's where you want to go.
Alright.
You're going to want to go to the master's quarters. It's upstairs, northwest wing. Look for a set of books.
Okay. We can find books.
And he writes down some stuff on a piece of paper. And none of you know what it says. And then he writes down some runes on paper. He's like, this is what you're looking for. If those aren't there, I need to know.
Alright. The titles don't look familiar to what they've already found.
No. And it is in a completely different language.
Okay.
That I realistically don't see any of you picking if you picked a language. It's like, yeah, if those aren't there, I need to know.
Alright. I assume they're dangerous books to know about or have.
Yes. And I was specifically told don't destroy them. Otherwise, I would have already done that. And obviously, I can't take them out of the house and bury them somewhere because, you know.
Right. Angry spirit.
Yes. You're from Ireland, Scotland.
Yes.
It's something akin to what you would call a banshee.
I don't want to go.
I understand that, but it's a nice one, sort of. Yeah.
I don't think there is
spirit.
such a thing.
Yeah, ours are a little bit different. The Loa tends to be a little bit more. If you don't mess with us, we ain't gonna mess with you.
Definitely don't want to mess with them.
Yeah, at least that's what we call them.
Loa, you said.
Yes.
Interesting.
Like I said, just if they try to talk to you, ignore them. If they try to give you things, don't take it.
Of course not. You never do that.
Beyond that, you should be fine. I mean, you all seem like fairly smart people. Shouldn't be too big of an issue.
Alright. Let's just get this done with. I appreciate your help.
Not a problem. And I appreciate your help. Assuming you come back without any harm to you or any issues, I'll make it worth your while. If for nothing else, this is security check for me, and I'll, pay you or something. I don't know. I ain't got a whole lot of money, but what I do have, I'll give some chickens if you want those.
That's not my call.
Good, thanks.
We'll figure it out later.
Alright, that sounds good. And he kind of goes back to his work.
Eileen, I'm glad you made it. I'm sorry you missed breakfast, though.
We had our own crazy breakfast.
Sounded like.
It is cute.
Did you were the children able to see their uncle? Your little one was quite excited about that.
I'm sure he was.
So I assume everybody piles into a vehicle and heads on out.
Rather reluctantly, but yes.
Oh, I'm sure Saoirse's like, let's go, this is going to be great.
Not
When
quite
was the
dragging,
drive?
not quite refusing to get into the vehicle, but very close to.
Yeah. I can only imagine. So you get into the vehicle. You start heading out there, and you can see houses start getting more sparse until you start seeing wildlife more than you start seeing houses. And wildlife don't like to be near roads. Then you get out to the route and take a right and turns into dirt. And out here, the water doesn't seem to pool as much. So it's not as soupy. It's not as muddy, but it's still definitely muddy. I assume everybody came prepared with not like high heels.
Right. Nice.
Like at
Dirty
least
shoes. Boots. Dirty boots.
I don't even know if Barnabas has anything like that, but we'll be nice and say he wore his not good shoes today.
Yeah, it was casual shoes.
I mean, we would have probably swung back to the houses to be prepared for this, knowing where we're going.
Yeah.
And Etta does have all of her brother's old clothes and shoes, so there are shoes that would be very much too big for Barnabas. They would do some like squat. I don't know what I was trying to say there. Buck boots.
Yep. So yeah, all of you are prepared. Eileen, when you swing back by your house, your kids are outside currently sliding through the mud. You kind of look at them, you're like, shit, I'm never gonna get that mud out. You run inside, grab your things. Saoirse and Etta, you run inside, grab your things. Barnabas, again, run inside, grab your things, talk to the lady next door. I'm like, hey, if I'm not back by tomorrow, can you feed the fish? And you head out here. You come to the end of the drive, and the service that is taking you out there is like, I ain't driving down there, but I'll stay here until you get back. How about that?
More than I can ask for. Thank you.
If you don't come back in 24 hours, I'll just assume that you might died or something. I don't know.
Sure.
And I'll send police. So you make this. You make this long trek down this overgrown driveway. It's about 3/4 of a mile. So when I say long, I do mean long. And when you come up to the house, at one point you can tell that it was very grand. The white pillars that were on the front are much less white now, a bit stained. The windows are almost all shattered, save one. But that one, it's pretty dirty. It's cracked. It's probably going to break here soon. The doors, however, seem to be securely on their hinges. The porch is in good enough shape that you're not scared to walk on it. And the roof looks to be mostly intact. There's a small hole in the northeast corner, but it's not too bad.
I don't want to be here.
Just you gonna be okay?
Be a lovely time, I'm sure.
All right. So through the front doors or through a broken window?
Is there any signs of people being here recently?
Give me a survival. Yeah, I don't fully expect anybody to be able to, or track.
1 and double zeros.
Well, if there was, you should mess that up.
Sorry,
Cool.
what were we
Fail.
rolling?
Survival.
Survival? Okay.
That's fine,
track.
I've ruined it for everyone.
That's a no for me.
I just barely missed it.
Okay. So yeah, you don't see any recent activity.
All right, seems safe. Let's go.
Still pretty early in
faster
the day,
we get
right?
in, the faster we get out.
We're still pretty early in the day, right?
Yeah, it's it's just before noon at this point.
Alright. Lead on.
Etta will open the door if it's not locked.
It is not locked. You swing open the door, and a slight breeze runs across the house. You hear apparently a weather vane on the roof start turning with this very faint creak. And the inside is dark. I mean, it is daylight out, so you can see a bit, but it's not well lit by any means.
Eileen will pull out her wackus bonkus of a flashlight.
Okay, you flip it on, and it illuminates pretty good. Pretty good section of the main entrance. You see that the stairs that were once there have been destroyed at some point. The one on the left, it looks about 3/4 of the way up. Somebody kind of looks like they drove a car through it. It's just missing. But the bottom section is still there. The right looks like somebody deliberately smashed out each one of the steps. The side railings are still there, but the steps aren't.
He said this was an old master's house, right? So there's probably servant stairwells. Maybe those would still be intact. We're lucky.
I hope so, because I don't think that's an easy way to get up anymore.
There.
Do the Worst case scenario, does the handrail look sturdy enough for someone to climb up?
Hold on just a second. Let me take a look at something. Because I know I have something here. Give me a mechanical repair. Let's do that. I'll be nice rather than saying engineering. Science engineering specifically.
That would be a big fat nope.
Nope, here too.
Okay. So you aren't 100% sure. However, you know the thinner the wood, the more flimsy it is, and there's not a whole lot of wood there. So you can risk it if you want to, or you can,
How big of a gap is the other stairwell?
It's not necessarily the gap that's the issue; it's the incline or the jump up as well.
Mhm.
Because it's probably a 4-foot gap, but it's also 3 foot up.
So not easily done.
No, the stairs are quite steep.
I'm sure Eileen can throw Etta up over the gap.
Eileen doesn't want to try throwing Etta up through the gap. Let's go. Although Etta did have a very good suggestion about finding a servant stairwell or something akin to that.
You all know more about these types of houses than I do.
I'm from Minnesota.
I'm from across the pond.
I'm basically from here. So yes, there should be some sort of servant stairwell because could not have the help, being seen.
Well, that's just fucked.
It is. And the servant stairwells are probably not going to be the best. Normally the steps aren't all the same height, so it's going to be a pain in the butt as well. And they're small and cramped.
So, Eileen, you scan the room. You see there are 5 doors. 2 on your left, 2 on your right, and 1 straight ahead. The one straight ahead is double doors. One seems to be slightly ajar of those double doors.
Do we want to kind of do like we did on the boat? Everyone pick a door, and then we meet up for the doors at the end of the hall?
Sure.
Sounds good.
Okay. So, if we go left or right, 1, 2, 3 being double doors, 4 and 5. Who wants which door?
Door number 1.
Okay.
Saoirse will take anything but the double doors.
Okay.
Barnabas will take door number 4.
Okay. And then Eileen, you want 3 or 5?
5.
Okay. So, starting with door number 1. You open it up and it looks like a small library. Sitting room, the books are all rotted away at this point. The bindings are still there, but the pages are long since gone. The furniture is dusty. There is still a very old, dried out cigar in an ashtray. And there is a little bit of glassware on a cart not too far from the door.
I got the library here. No books left, though. That's sad. I like books.
Door number 2 for Saoirse. You open it up, and it is a rather large coat closet. There are still, in fact, a couple coats in here, as well as a pair of riding boots. The riding boots seem to be actually in serviceable condition, and they look to be almost your size.
You said there were coats. Is there anything in the pockets?
You rifle through the pockets, and there's an old Confederate note. One singular one.
Not gonna take it. Just wanted to see what was there. Leave everything as it is. Otherwise, put the note back in the pocket it was in. We're not messing with anything.
Okay. Door number 4. Mr. Barnabas. This looks to be an office. Small office. There is a desk facing the door with an old, regular, straight back chair. The upholstery is long since deteriorated. There is a small bookcase on one wall, and looks like an oil lamp that has not been used in years in here.
Can I start off searching the desk?
Yes. There are 3 drawers and a roll-up on the top. The roll-up is locked. The 3 drawers are not. The large drawer that sits over top of the lap has writing utensils in it. Pens. There is a piece of charcoal in there. There is an old inkwell. There is a old-fashioned quill. And there are some old crumbling papers rather. You open the top side drawer, and it is completely empty. And then the bottom side drawer. Give me a dodge.
Nope.
Okay. You open the bottom side drawer, and a rat comes flying up and crawls up your arm.
Barnabas is going to scream.
Saoirse will
You're right over there.
tentatively make their way over.
Saoirse comes running over, and the rat comes running out the door, between her legs. And it's not a small rat, it's quite large.
I mean, that wasn't unexpected. You okay, Barnabas?
The thing attacked me.
Did it bite you?
I don't think so.
Do you need me to check?
I don't see any blood anywhere. I think I'm fine.
Okay,
Did you find anything?
Tell me if you start getting dizzy or blurry vision or anything weird like that.
Yeah, we don't need you going rabbit on us.
Did you find anything in here? Other than the rat?
Nothing yet. There's a roll-up that's locked that I can't quite get into. I'll start taking a look at the bookshelf.
Okay, the bookshelf. Can I please get you to roll me a spot hidden?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Saoirse, since you're in the room, you also see the same thing I explained.
Okay. Can they head to the locked desk to see if they can open it?
Go ahead and give me a locksmith, please.
Oh no. Nope. Not anywhere near it.
Okay. You can keep trying on this particular one until you fumble it.
Yeah, I rolled an 83 that time.
If you want to try again, it just takes a little bit longer.
49. Mine's a 31. Might just use luck for the difference there.
Okay, so you spend luck. Okay.
Yeah.
You feel like you got it unlocked, and you kind of go to twist and lift, and it kind of jiggles a little bit, and then you kind of just like force it open. The lock on the desk breaks, but it is open.
Oops.
Inside, there seems to be a ledger, as well as a sheathed cavalry sword.
Open the ledger.
Okay. Give me either a library use or accounting, please.
Can Barnabas lend a hand with that?
Yes, you can. You can also give me a separate one if you want to.
I failed.
I got an extreme success.
Okay. So Barnabas knows immediately what this is. Saoirse, it's a lot of shorthand, and it's a lot of American shorthand specifically. So you don't really understand what's going on. Barnabas, you're like, oh, this is crop production, and when they send it off to market, here's where they sold one of their workers. Here's livestock. Here's this. Here's that. Like, Barnabas understands exactly what's going on in this thing. However, he also sees that there's large expenses for unnamed items here and there. It just says something to do with drawing a blank. Since I'm drawing a blank, I'm not going to sit on it too long. It just says superstition.
Maybe this guy believed in some of that voodoo stuff and wanted some of his workers who also believed in it.
I mean, it would make sense since we're being sent here for some books that are dangerous.
All right.
Can Saoirse go look at the bookshelf?
Yep. Give me a spy hidden, please.
Succeed.
Okay. You are kind of moving books around. They're kind of crumbling apart. And you find a false back to one of the bookshelves. Pop it open, and there out falls 2 rings and a necklace. 2 gold, 1 silver. The necklace is silver, specifically.
Huh. That's an interesting thing to hide. No note, no nothing else in the panel?
Nope, that's it. It's also not a very big compartment, so that's pretty much all it could fit.
Right. Don't want to close it up for now. It's like lean it back up so it's like easily gotten to, but not take anything.
Okay.
Also, Barnabas is going to write down everything he sees in the ledger, just so if he needs to take it back to the captain or something.
Okay. In your fancy new journal.
Yeah.
All right, and then door number 5. Eileen, you open it up, and it looks much the same like what Etta found, but this one seems to be geared more toward a woman's liking, rather than old leather. You have plush couches and adorned in fabric. This is much less fancy, but still as nice. Rather than a cigar, you see cigarette butts in an ashtray. You see old textile things, like the needlepoint hoops, some knitting needles, stuff like that.
Romance books. Lots of romance books, I am sure.
Yeah, probably.
Seeing that it's akin to a woman's like reading room and workroom, Eileen will alert Etta.
Etta's been making her way to door number 3, so she just turns around, goes to door number 5. What's up?
I found another library that kind of seems to be your area of expertise, so I was wondering if maybe you could help me check this out.
Sure.
Yeah. You don't really find anything overly useful. You do find a couple quote-unquote steamy books. But I mean, nothing that you wouldn't expect that would be out of the ordinary.
Any, like, monograms or signed books that would indicate who the owner of the house was?
No, you would assume that anything like that has long since been eaten by mice or moths or other various rodents. The fact that the books are still there, the only reason why they are is because the bindings have protected, but the paper itself has been long since wet and deteriorated.
No hidden magic books here, I guess.
Guess not. They didn't care for their books very well. I mean, I know this is a deserted place, but still.
Alright. Double doors?
Double doors.
Yeah.
Check out the double doors.
Okay, so who's going through first?
Etta.
That is going through first?
I guess so. Nothing bad can happen with this.
You open the door and you just hear, like, as you step through, just a thunk from upstairs.
Something's upstairs.
I'm sure it's just another rat.
Yeah, that rat was really big. It must have weighed 5 pounds.
Which would explain the thunk. Let's keep looking.
Have y'all never seen any, not city rats?
No, I think I've only ever seen city rats. They get pretty big.
What are the ones that are around people?
So, you walk in through the double doors, and this looks like basically a ballroom. It has the floors in here are actually still pretty well preserved. It is that squared wood tile, if you know what I'm talking about. Through everywhere, there is a piano off in the corner. It is a grand piano. It is probably not playable anymore, unfortunately. Looks to be in a bit of disrepair. There is, however, a piano bench still there as well. There are also 4 doors in here.
Check the piano bench.
Yeah, the piano bench is just a solid one. It doesn't have a flip up a thing or anything. However, you can look inside of the piano, and yeah, there's quite a few strings that have let go.
Okay.
There are a couple that you could probably play a note on, but why risk it?
Yeah, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a beautiful piano back in the day.
Let me guess. We have to pick a door again.
So again, going clockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4. Who wants door number 1?
I'll take it.
Okay. Buttons will pick it first. Door number 2.
Sure.
I'll take door number. All right, I will take the 4th door. There.
Okay. So Saoirse gets 2, Barnabas gets 3. Yet again. So starting with door number 1. Door number 1 is a dining hall. The table in here looks to be one solid piece of wood. It has wrought iron legs that are pretty well rusted, as well as looks to be 10 chairs surrounding the table. The china that is on the walls is actually still there. Still in one piece. It's very delicate, though. You can tell that just by looking at it. Beyond that, there's really not a whole lot in the room. There's a couple cupboards underneath the china, but that's pretty much it.
Check the cupboards just to be safe. Just quick glance. Make sure nothing suspicious is hiding in there.
Okay. You open the cupboards, and you're kind of rifling through, making sure it's just a bunch of old, like, tablecloths. Some furniture drapes or drapery, stuff like that. Nothing too crazy. It all has been eaten by rodents and such. Moving on to door number 2. Seriously, you open it up, and it is a washroom. There is a tub. There is a toilet. There is a sink. It looks like at one point this had running water. Probably one of the first places in the area that had some sort of running water.
Okay.
Has long since not had that, obviously. But there is nothing of note in here.
Okay.
Door number 3 is a kitchen. The stove is still in workable order. You could probably cook something on there. The center island is still intact. It's a large, thick slab of butcher's block, with cupboards underneath. The counters against the far wall, however, have started to sag a bit, you assume from water damage. And there is also a door leading directly off, looks to be like into door number 4. Into that.
Does it look like the kitchen's been used recently?
No, it hasn't been used in quite a while. There is, however, a set of knives laying on the center island.
Are they in stabbing order? Or...
You could probably do some damage with them if you really wanted to.
I'll leave them for now.
Okay. Then door number 4. Etta, you open it up, and it is a small servant's quarters. There are 4 beds that look like they haven't been used in probably 30 or 40 years. There is a single armoire that the door has fallen off of. You can see inside, and there's moth-eaten clothes. There's 3 drawers underneath it. And in the back of the room, there is a small, cramped stairwell.
Found the servants' quarters and the stairwell. What'd you guys
Oh,
find?
good. Nothing. I found the bathroom.
Eileen will poke her head out from the dining hall and just some china, moth-eaten napkins.
Barnabas is gonna open the door to the servants' quarters and say, "I found the door here."
Oh, about that. Alright, ready to go up? Luckily, most of us are quite small, so even though it's cramped, it shouldn't be too claustrophobic, hopefully.
I'll just be ducking down. It's fine.
Alright, so up the stairs you go.
Up the stairs we go. Saoirse's last.
Okay. As soon as all of you are on the stairs, you hear another thunk thunk from upstairs.
Are we sure we need to go up?
Yes, we have to be
Boy.
thorough.
Kind of feel like I should have grabbed one of those knives. Or the saber we saw in the study.
I have my old iron rods if you want it.
I was gonna say, would it make you feel better if you borrowed my knife?
I'll take the rod. Since I assume I'm closer to here, so.
Yeah, of course the cowards are bringing up the rear.
Not running away, though.
So, you make it to the top of the stairs, and the stairs are actually in very good order for as old as the house is and as abandoned as the house is. It creaks here and there, and there's one step that sags. But that's it. I mean, otherwise, you wouldn't notice, in here at least, that it's abandoned. Make it to the top of the stairs, and there's an old pocket door. You slide it open or slide it over, and you swing out the door that's on the other side, and you realize that it's actually a large floor-to-ceiling painting. Whatever was on the painting is long since gone. The fabric or canvas or whatever it was is deteriorated, and there are rags left. You come into a long hallway, though. You can see into what you can tell was the ballroom as well.
Okay. Well, we made it up here. Now we just gotta find that room in the northeast corner. Is that what he said?
Northwest.
Northwest. I was off.
Cool.
If
Did
you-
any of us bring a compass so we know which one it is?
Nope.
Now why would we do that?
About what time would it be?
At this point, it's probably 1:30 in the afternoon.
Alright, so not quite late enough to tell which side is west.
Everybody give me a natural world. I know it's weird. Just go with me here.
Nope.
I just barely missed extreme success, so that's a hard.
Okay. I missed it by 1, so I was really like, if no one did it, I would spend a single luck. But Barney got it.
Yeah, so, Barnabas, you kind of say something about the compass and Blight. We can make a compass. If we put a needle in water, it'll point north. If you can get it to float on top. Question is, does anybody have a needle?
Maybe one of either Etta or Eileen does for like.
I was gonna say, would
Right?
Eileen have a needle like shoved into some pocket from just being around the hospital for so long?
There's the sewing room downstairs.
There's that too.
So which avenue do you want to take?
If Eileen has one, great. If not, we'll go back downstairs and grab a needle. That's my vote.
Sounds good to me.
Does anyone have water?
I would assume that you all would have packed some sort of water.
Water canteen.
So I gave Eileen a 20% chance and I rolled a 5. So Eileen has a needle on her.
Oh, here we go.
Now, issue is, does anybody have survival or navigate?
Barnabas does not.
Nothing added to it.
Okay. Since you all are going to help each other, go ahead and give me that. 2 of you each can give me the navigate roll with a bonus dice, which is 2 of your 10s, and then take the lower of the 2.
Who wants to do the rolling?
Not me. I have a 10 in both. So.
We all do.
Yeah.
Oh, we all do? So who thinks they're most lucky?
I've been rolling fairly decently tonight.
So have I.
Okay. So you 2 go ahead and roll.
Double 0 and a 6.
I got
Okay,
an 80 and
so-
a 6.
006 would be 6. So you succeeded in making a rudimentary compass. You
That tracks.
realize that, you realize that the back of the house is north. Going off of Barnabas's natural world, to the right is east, to the left is west. So you are currently in the northeast part of the house.
So we need to go to the other way.
Okay. Etta
Alright.
open up the door and start heading west.
We've been hearing lots of noise. We might want to be a bit quiet just in case.
So if
Alright.
you would like to roll stealth, go ahead and roll stealth.
No.
Also a no.
I rolled
I
a
ac-
96.
Eileen actually succeeded. She rolled a 19.
I got a hard success.
Okay.
So Etta probably hits every single squeaky floorboard there is.
Yes. So you proceed down the hallway, and you kind of look to your right, and there's a door, and then you look to your left, and there's 3 more doors, evenly spaced. You could probably ponder a guess and say these are all guest rooms. You look across the way because it's fairly open up here, with columns going down the center, like dividing wall below. and you see one set of double doors across the way, and then one door on the right hand and one door on the left hand with a similar hall setup. However, that side looks like it has sitting room, like sitting areas set up in those.
So I'm sorry. At the end of the hallway, there's a double door, and then 2 doors on either side.
So you come to the end of your hallway, and you've got your kind of catwalk that goes down the side, and you can overlook what's going on underneath. You've got 4 doors on your side, evenly spaced, and a walkway that goes across to the other side with a similar catwalk, with a set of double doors, and then a door on the right, door on the left on the other side. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. What are we overlooking? The ballroom still?
Yes, overlooking pretty much the entire bottom.
So we would have seen these catwalks from when we walked in.
You might not have realized exactly that they're full-on catwalks, but yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, even if we didn't realize what they were there.
Yes.
Okay. Do we want to take a peek in the doors as we go through?
At
How would it
least,
hurt?
at the very least, we should listen in.
All right. Saoirse will pick the first one, closest.
Okay. So Saoirse opens or just listens to?
Slowly cracks it open and to slowly open and peek in.
Okay. You slowly open it and you can hear the sound of rain. It seems to be picking up a bit more. You get the smell of outside from this room as well. You realize that there's probably a hole in the roof here.
Okay. We'll open the door the rest of the way. Is it just like a bedroom?
Yes, it's a bedroom. Part of the roof has collapsed in on an old bed. There doesn't seem to be really anything of note here.
Just a bedroom. The roof caved in, so you might want to be a bit careful up here.
Okay. Etta will take door number 3 this time.
Okay. Who wants 2 and who wants 4? If you split it in half.
Barnabas will take 2.
Okay. Door number 2. You open it up and again, it's just an old guest bedroom. This one, however, it seems to have a woman's dress laid on the bed. It's very ornate. It's a deep crimson red. It doesn't look like it's eaten too bad. However, you haven't touched it, so it might crumble in your fingers.
Guess I'll touch it, see what happens.
It doesn't. However, I need you to make me a power roll, please.
Success.
Okay. You touch it and you kind of blink and the room looks completely different. There is a woman getting ready. She's mostly clothed in the corner and she's talking to somebody saying, "Oh, I'm sure the ball tonight's going to be fantastic. And Master has plans for us. I'm sure whatever the plans are going to just be absolutely wonderful." And with that, you kind of come back to and you're like, "Well, that was weird."
Hey, any of you want to come see this dress? It's kind of nice, actually.
I don't want to touch
Why?
anything I don't have to here.
I just think it's really pretty.
Maybe whenever we come back through? I want to check out my door first.
So, door number 3. You open it up, and it is a child's room. There are toys strewn about the floor. There is an old dollhouse that doesn't have anything in it, and a small child bed.
The child's room. Nothing special.
Would you like to go in and start playing with toys?
No, I'm good, thank you.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right. And then Eileen. We get to your room finally. At the end of the hall, there's another hallway. It has a small sitting area at the end of it. Or at least that's what it was. You can see the remnants of a rocking chair. You open yours up, and it is a nursery. It looks like there is an actual, full-grown person's bed in there as well. However, it is a nursery. What would you like to do?
He'll kind of walk in and take a peek around if there are any bookshelves or dressers or suitcases hidden under what I'm assuming to be a nurse's bed or something. Just looking to see if there's anything hidden or interesting around.
Okay. You kind of poke around, and in the dresser that's there, you open up one of the drawers, and there is an old, night outfit for a baby. You start rifling through drawers, and the bottom drawers seem to be for the adult. And it is, in fact, old nurse, clothing. What would you like to do?
Knowing Eileen, she would very carefully poke through the clothes, see if there's anything hidden underneath, any old diaries or scraps of anything.
Okay, all of the drawers, or just a couple of them?
Particularly the ones with the adult clothing in them for the nurse.
Okay. Give me a spy hidden.
Okay. I actually succeeded that one.
Okay. You find a necklace with a rather large jewel on it.
Can she, I don't want to, fully pick it up, but can she, turn it over to see if there's, an inscription or a monogram on the back?
Okay, you go to turn it over, and can I get you to make me a power roll?
Okay. That is a hard success.
Okay. Again, much like Barnabas, you are kind of look around. The room is completely different. There is a young woman, probably late teens, sitting on the bed. She's caring for a baby of some. And an older gentleman, probably late 40s, walks in. It's like, how's everything? Is baby doing okay? She kind of nods. I wanted to give you something something that show my appreciation. He hands her the necklace. She kind of looks at it. It's like, but this is your wife's. Oh, I know. It's yours now. She didn't wear it. And you kind of come back too. And you're in the same room.
So does that mean there is a monogrammed inscription on the back of the necklace?
There is not.
Eileen's just gonna blink around a little bit. Does the clothing that she saw in the drawer match what she saw?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure. She'll frown a little bit and not really finding anything terribly interesting in the mundane sense. She'll carefully close the door and with a kind of a sad look at the crib leave the room.
Okay. So proceeding on to the other side. Are we doing the two peripheral doors or just the main?
I guess.
Okay, so the peripheral doors.
We could
Okay.
split these two in two if you want. Make you feel better. Or take them one at a time for all four of us.
2 and 2. Etta and Saoirse, Eileen and Barnabas.
Do you maybe want to split up the people that actually can find things well?
Sure. Saoirse will go with Barney.
Okay, Etta and Eileen will take the other one then.
Okay. As you walk past the set of double doors, you hear thunk, thunk, thunk in rapid succession on the other side of those doors.
I think there's something in there.
I don't like this. Don't like this at all.
Didn't the gentleman at the flower shop say to ignore things like this?
Yep. I don't like it though.
It's okay. We're not going to be here forever. Let's just make sure the.
I hope
Let's
not.
just make sure the books. Let's just make sure the books are okay, and then we can leave.
Come on, Barnabas.
Hey.
Let's open the door.
Let's
So
go.
you head off on to the right hand side, Saoirse and Barnabas. You open the door, and it is just a bedroom. There is a desk with a closed journal on it.
Open the journal.
Saoirse opens the journal.
Yeah.
Guess what roll you need, man?
Ow.
Yes.
Double zeros and a 7.
Okay, so you pass a lot. You kind of blink as you grab it, and you're standing by the door, and an older gentleman, much like the one that Buttons saw, or Eileen saw, walks in the room past you, and there's a teenage boy sitting there. He's like, "Oh, Dad, didn't expect you to be home so soon." I got done with my business in New Orleans faster than I expected. I got you a gift. Here, and he hands the boy the journal. He opens it up and he's like, "Oh, it's an actual journal. It's blank. It hasn't been used. Thank you." And he kind of gets up and gives him a hug. And at that point, you come back and you've got your hand on the journal. You haven't opened it yet.
How did this look to Barnabas?
Kind of like she grabbed and like froze for half a second, and then it just kind of right back
Hey.
to what she was doing.
Hey,
Yes. Okay.
Did you just see something?
is that why you were telling people to touch things?
I just want to see if that was right or not.
You're an ass. Open the journal.
Okay, you will open the journal. Give me a library use.
I succeeded by 1.
Okay, that is good enough for what I need. The first half of the book is kind of just a journal for a teenage boy. The dates seem to be from the 1880s, so roughly 40 years ago. And then it skips about 15 years. 1895. And it's like, I can't believe I found my journal. Unfortunately, my dad's gone. My mom, she's been gone for quite a while. It's my house now, and I just don't feel right staying in their room. I don't know, just something weird about it to me. I guess it's my parents' room. I don't belong in there. Flip a couple pages more, and been reading the books in my dad's personal library. They're interesting, to say the least. Perhaps I'll see if I can apply any of those to my medical practice. Then you kind of flip to the end, and he has talked to me, and I have been set on a path. I will do his will, and I will watch as those who shall be punished, or must be punished, shall be punished.
Is there any name in the book?
No name whatsoever.
Not gonna touch it. Saoirse will, or not gonna take it. Saoirse will pull out one of the books they have and jot down some of the more interesting passages real fast.
Okay. So yeah, you do that as Eileen and Etta. You open the other one, and again, looks like a very lightly used bedroom. There's nothing in here at all besides the bed and a chest.
Let's check out the chest.
Check out the chest.
Okay. The chest is empty. It is also unlocked.
That was anticlimactic.
And there's nothing under the bed?
Would you like to roll me a spot hidden?
I mean, I'm not
Sorry. Spot-hidden?
I'm not the one that's very good at spot hidden. That's why I brought Etta. So
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. Am I rolling twice or just once?
If Eileen is helping you, twice.
Eileen will assist definitely.
Okay, that is a 25, which I think is a hard success. Let me double check numbers here. Spot hidden. Where did you go? There you are. Yes, that is a hard success.
Okay. The room's not quite as empty as I might have suggested. Eddie, you're walking through and you step on a board and it kind of shifts a little bit and it squeaks. You kind of look down, you start messing with it, you realize that you can pry it up. And underneath there is a small bundle.
Would you look at that? Hidden compartment. Sorry, cat fur. Is there anything I can tell about the bundle? I'm just looking at it.
The bundle is basically butcher paper wrapped with twine. It's probably about 1 foot by a foot. So it's not huge, but it's not small. And it's not very thick. It's only about an inch or so.
Well, I think we're gonna have to open this if we want to know what's inside.
Yeah, be careful touching it. With the way Barnabas was acting earlier and then something weird happened in the nursery, I just be careful.
Okay, be on my toes. I understand. Etta will pull it up and place it where
Unwrap
they both can see it.
Okay. Pull it up. You'll unwrap it, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay. As you're unwrapping it, one more power roll, please.
Of course, I would love to, sir. That is a 4. Yeah, that's a huge success for Etta.
One of you were supposed to fail. Okay. Anyway, it's fine. You find yourself in a field, looking on. There's a circle of people, most of them dressed as ghosts in the middle of summer, because they're dumb. And then there's one guy in the middle that is dressed as a purple ghost from, like, Pac-Man. And they have somebody kind of tied to, like, a stake. Like a pole. And the guy that's dressed in purple is, like, holding a torch and saying a bunch of stuff. Can't really make it out. It's not very auditory. And it's also not in English. And you see him just kind of, like, toss the torch onto the fire. And right about then, you come back, too.
And it kind of pushes the package away. That was unnerving.
Do you see something too?
Yeah. A meeting. I'll leave it at that. With people from the kind of people from the ship.
You finish unwrapping this, and it is the purple robe that you saw.
So gross. Okay.
Well, I mean, what did you expect? This is
The South, yeah.
Put it back.
Putting it back.
You kind of wrap it back up neatly, or you kind of throw it?
I want to just throw it back in, not gonna lie.
That's 100% you can do that.
Just put the wood back over top. I was never here.
Okay. So everybody comes out and you meet at the set of double doors.
Saoirse's probably quietly cursing out Barnabas in, like, Gaelic. And then, turns to everyone. There's a journal in there, from a son of the original owner. It skipped a few years in the between there, but apparently he became the owner of the house and started reading his father's library and was very interested in the books he found there. Said he was going to apply it to his medical practice. Started about 40 years ago.
Okay.
That's probably too vague for Eileen to make anything out of, right?
Yes. For now.
Well, I found a purple robe, like our friend on the ship would wear, and then I saw a meeting they were having where they had a torch and somebody tied up.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awful. At the end of the book, it got a little weird, and they will turn their journal around and let everyone read that passage.
Okay.
Yeah, this place is weird. We should probably hurry up.
I didn't want to be here in the first place, so let's just get out of here. Finish up and get out of here.
Mhm.
Yeah, we gotta get those books.
No, we have to find the books. We're not taking
Yes.
them.
Why did I think he asked us to bring them back to him?
The last thing we want to do is take anything from this house.
Yeah, because of the Banshee, not Banshee lady. Alright, let's go.
Banshee, not Banshee lady.
You were there for the talk of the spirit.
Yes, apologies, I'm just not very well versed in occult matters.
A
Is
ghost
the right
that's
word?
going to scream and kill us. At least from my home.
I personally call it nonsense.
Oh, it's not quite nonsense. Anyway, let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
So in through the double doors.
Through the double doors.
Etta opens the doors. Let's go.
Okay. You come inside, and this is very well furnished. Most of the furniture in here is still pretty well intact. The upholstery that has or was there is faded and eaten, but all of the wood is still intact. There is a large four-post bed set directly center of the room. There are multiple armoires. A few of them are open with very ornate dresses and a couple suits here and there interspersed. There is a fireplace in the corner of the room. Looks like it has been used in years, with a small table, a couch, and two chairs. And then there is a wall just full of what was a library at one point. Most of the books are pretty well deteriorated yet again.
Could this be the library that the journal was referring to then, I suppose?
Probably talks about his father's personal library.
Okay.
Do any of the books
find
look
those
like they're
books.
intact?
Go ahead and give me a spot hidden for everybody, because I assume that everybody kind of scours over the books.
Succeed.
That's a big fat no for Etta.
Nope.
I got a hard success.
Okay. So did Saoirse get a hard success?
No, I only succeeded by 5.
Okay. So Saoirse, you find the books. There is one missing. And it is the one that he specifically asked you to tell him. It is nowhere to be found.
Lovely. We have a problem.
As you're ruminating over that, and Eileen and Etta are making sure you didn't miss anything, Barnabas, you realize that the doors have closed. The windows in the room are far darker than they were when you came in. However, the room itself isn't any darker.
Guys? Something weird's going on.
This
Kinda
is an
weird.
old house. Things happen.
The windows are darker, but it's still the same lighting in here. Plus the doors are closed now.
Etta starts looking around.
Saoirse will specifically not look around.
Etta, go ahead and give me another spot hidden, please.
Ooh, that's a success. I think that's also a hard success. But hidden. Yes, sir, that is a hard success.
Okay, so as you're looking around, you see in one of the armoires, kind of looks like a figure, but it's not a figure. Looks like something's moving in one of them. kind of catch a set of eyes, but you're not sure if they're actually a set of eyes.
Etta will turn around from that armoire, I can speak, and be like, "Don't look that way. Let's find the book and get out."
That's the problem. The book isn't here.
Did it get moved, placed somewhere else? Is it on a desk or under the bed or?
I didn't see it anywhere else. I mean, I'll look under the bed.
Mm-hmm.
One less check and then let's book it, because something's watching us that's there but not there. It's staring at us.
Stop talking about it.
Are there any other books that are like actually intact that might be like legible? Because Eileen's curious about what exactly he meant. The son meant by medical practice, and
There is one more that seems to have stood the test of time. Does Eileen speak any other languages, is the question.
no.
What languages does everybody else speak besides Irish?
I think I put down that Etta speaks French. Or originally that's what I was going to have her do, but I don't know if I actually wrote it down on my sheet.
Okay.
Barnabas only speaks English.
Okay. Let's see here.
I know that was something I was thinking about whenever I was making Etta, because New Orleans has such a...
It would make
Yeah.
sense,
French.
yeah.
Go ahead and give me a history roll then. Anybody that wishes to.
Okay. Not great at those, but okay.
Just missed it.
Success.
you like- Would Barnabas like to spend luck? You don't have to, but
It's only 4 points, so I'll spend the luck.
okay. So that's a success. Would Saoirse like to? Okay.
I don't have enough.
Okay. Etta and Barnabas, you realize that this is Latin.
I'll see that every day.
Considering, would you tell Eileen?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Okay.
Latin.
Considering Eileen's medical background, would she be able to pick out a few words here and there that she might recognize?
I will allow a one-time medicine with a penalty dice. So taking
Okay.
the higher of the two rolls.
Okay. If I meet the thing, does that count as a success?
Yes, it does.
Okay, because I rolled a 94 and my medicine is at 94.
Oh, nice. So you can pick out enough to realize that it deals with death and something about reanimation. This particular one. Bunch of rituals going on in it, though. You can tell that much.
Okay. Eileen would probably... Let's see. Etta, do you carry paper on you still?
I do.
May I borrow a piece real quick? I'd just kind of like to note down the name of the text and see if maybe we can look up a little history on that later. I'm
Okay.
curious.
What is Saoirse doing right now?
I would have taken a peek under the bed.
Okay. So I'm gonna say that you start like searching around. By the time you get to the bed and you kind of like peek under it, I assume that Etta, Eileen, and Barnabas are all kind of focused on this book. Saoirse, as you peek under the bed, you like look through and you see a pair of fairly nice loafers on the other side, with a guy in a like pinstripe suit. And as Eileen asked for the piece of paper, I wouldn't do that if I was you. Now I can give you other things, but I can't give you nothing out of that book.
Eileen will
Was
just
this-
kind of slowly turn around to see who spoke.
Saoirse won't
Um,
move.
Eileen would recognize it as the guy from her vision.
Father?
I appreciate the offer, but I think my curiosity has been sated for now, and she'll just kind of turn back to the others with a nod.
Now you sure you don't want that pretty necklace you found? I mean, you can keep it if you want it.
The offer is generous, but I have my own, and she'll just kind of pat the locket that she wears.
Oh, now that's cute. Whoever you are that's laying on the floor over there, you can stand up.
I don't want to. I
It's
just want
fine,
to
I don't-
leave.
I don't bite too bad, I promise you.
Sure.
So she
Stand
stands up.
up. They stand up, yes.
All right. Kind of gives each of you a look. So, oh, we got some explorers. Exactly, what are you doing here?
Returning a favor.
You ain't disturbed none of my things, now have you? I mean, beyond what I already know about.
I don't know what you know about, but I'm going out of my way to not disturb anything.
The journal. The item under the floorboards, and kind of looks at Etta. The necklace, looks at Eileen. And my mistress's dress, looks at Barnabas.
It was a nice dress, okay?
Would you like to wear it? I'm sure it would look fantastic on you too.
I'll pass.
Eileen can't help but snort.
I think we have overstayed our welcome, and I think we're just gonna go. Is that right? Yeah, that's great, right?
And he makes his way over to the door and it's like, you can leave if you can open the doors. Now don't be breaking my windows now.
Most of them were already broken.
Oh, I know. You should see what happened to the people that broke my windows.
But if they're already broken, we can leave after them, yeah?
Yes, however, and kind of direct your attention to the two in the room, these are not.
What have you done to the doors?
Oh, my friends are keeping them shut for me.
Your friends.
Yes, I haven't had company outside of them. They're a gloomy sort in quite a while. Last
your-
one was my son came here and he took something that didn't belong to him.
What does he take?
Oh, the sister book to that one.
He's the one that took.
Yeah.
What
But I
was his
feel like
name?
his name is Michael. He doesn't go by that anymore, though.
Hmm.
He's some hotshot doctor in New Orleans.
I think I've
Aren't they
heard
all?
of him.
Oh, you have?
I'll have it written down. Yeah. There's someone who goes around helping people. Doesn't work for the hospitals or anything.
What do they call that now? Free work, freelance, something like that.
Freelancing.
Something. So he doesn't even charge for his services no more.
That's what I heard.
And he doesn't really care who he helps, he just helps.
Right.
Which doesn't sit well with me.
And you have a problem with that. Parts.
Yeah. Well, part of his clientele, yes.
Why are you planning on keeping us here? We just want to leave.
I know. But like I said, I haven't had company in such a long time. And there's not really anything that y'all can do to keep me from keeping you here, to the best of my knowledge. Does anybody have any religious symbols on them for their specific faith?
Barnabas is atheist.
Oh, I know that.
So, Saoirse's faith is the occult. Specifically the Irish occult, but
Right. So, for this particular, it would be some sort of like Celtic paganism. Doesn't really quite fit, technically speaking, but that's as close as I'm going to get right now.
right. The closest thing they would have is probably that coin.
Okay. And she actually puts a lot of stock in that coin? As
Kind
far
of,
as-
yeah. Based
Okay.
because of how they found it. Yes.
Okay. So that'll count for that one. Eileen, do you have anything?
She'd probably have her husband's rosary.
Okay. And then, Etta, would you carry anything with you, knowing what you were told?
Yes. So we spoke briefly that Etta's family does do like family, heritage rituals and stuff. So she probably has some sort of like little protective charm stash thing.
Okay. And he kind of looks among you and is like, especially you, Mr. Sorry, I didn't quite get your name. And he approaches Barnabas.
No, I don't.
Oh. Now, you sure you don't want to spend more time with me? I'm sure we'd be best of friends. You should sit down on the couch.
Can
We can
Etta
talk.
step in between the two?
You can.
No, I'm good, thanks.
And it feels like this guy is just like looking through you. This guy's like, I wasn't giving you much of a choice. Now sit down. Please, if you would, power roll.
Can I spend luck?
How much do you need to spend?
4.
Yeah, you can spend that.
I was gonna
Like
say
I
you
said.
could always let Eileen grapple you.
Like I said, I'm good.
Alright. Do it your way. Boys, and he kind of steps away from the door, and the windows go back to full bright. And just like shadows pop up from the floor. I need your immediate actions.
Run for the door and open it and run away?
Grab the coin. Grab her new extendable iron rod and extend their new extendable iron rod and extend it.
Okay.
Eileen will, with one hand, pull her husband's rosary out and wrap it around her hand, and then in the other hand, she's gonna switch her grip on the flashlight so that she's wielding it more like a club.
Okay. What is Barnabas doing?
I'm just gonna swing the club at the closest shadow person.
Okay. You swing the club at the closest shadow person, and it goes straight through him. Etta, give me... I'm trying to figure out what... Give me just straight up strength roll.
Okay, that's a decent roll. Oh my god, I succeeded. Even with my sad strength.
Was it a regular success, or was it a hard success?
I think it's just regular. I rolled a 29 and my strength of 44.
Okay. Would you like to spend luck to get to a hard success?
Sure.
Okay. You struggle against the door for a second. You just kind of like burst out of nowhere to pull it open. And like a bright flash of light goes on before you, and you make your way out to the center thing. What would everybody like to do at this point?
Let's go.
Run for the door.
Barnabas is going to yell shit as soon as he realizes that the pipe just went through, and he's going to run for the door.
Okay. Run for the door. What is Eileen doing?
Eileen is going to calmly make her way to the door, and as she passes, you notice she's muttering St. Michael's prayer under her breath as she moves.
Okay. You're specifically the last one through the door, though?
Yes.
Okay. Give me, and this is going to sound weird. Yeah. I guess that would still kind of fit. Give me a power roll. It's not that bad for you, right?
That is a hard success.
Okay. You make it through, and you kind of stop on the other side, and the master of the manor comes running up to the door, and he kind of just stops at the doorway. It's like, you will see me again. Do you understand that? Next time you see me, won't be good. And you all make your way out of the manor undisturbed. I assume that you kind of like jump off the broken stairwell and like run out the door.
Yeah.
At this point, seems logical, and you all are fairly logical. And you go running down the driveway, and the car's still there, sitting there waiting on you.
Hi, good sir. Can we go? Please.
Yeah, sure. Give me just a second. He turns it around. I need everybody to give me one more power roll, please.
Nope.
Hard
Succeed.
success.
Success.
Okay, so Steven, which is completely
Barnabas?
fitting. Yeah, Barnabas. Sorry, wrong one. In your ear says, "I'll see you again, boy. Give me time." And you speed off. You inform your new friend that the book is no longer there, I assume.
Yes. First stop that we made.
Okay. He takes the information, notes it, and he's like, well, we got to find that book, obviously. It's a problem. But that's a problem for another episode.
Mhm.
As we leave our intrepid adventurers or investigators where they are tonight.
Oof.
Holy bajolers. Okay. Ooh. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little surprised that Etta ran away before the cowards.
Yeah. Anyway, all of you that are watching or will watch or listen, have a good night, and hopefully I didn't cause you too many nightmares.
Have a good night, guys.
Sweet dreams. I actually need to hop off and try to go to bed early. I haven't been sleeping well lately.
Thank you for joining us in this tale of terror and mystery. If you have any questions for our keeper or investigators, please leave them in a comment below or in any of our social media platforms, which will also be linked below. The world is a crazy place, so stay safe, and we hope to see you again.